Ladies and gentlemen, here's the motherfucking tea.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back for another My Hero Monday. I'm Scott, that's Grant, that's Lanny, and we're here to talk about fungus.
Lots of fungus among us, and it was an episode that we had. It was an interesting episode.
Fungus among us? How dare you? How absolutely dare you?
The part that I was most looking forward to, and I'm going to bury the lead here a little bit, we finally got to see how Manga's powers work. And I do not in any way, shape, or form envy the localization team that has to translate that power. Because essentially what Manga does is he turns non-diegetic exclamations into diegetic things that he can also enforce his will and intent through.
Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, but they're ultimately non-diegetic things.
He's
right?
like that. Like nothing is making the sound. He is creating the sound for it to come to life.
And so they exist, and then boom. First of all, that's a joke that that's a gimmick that I don't think was going to translate very well to animation to begin with, because when it's in a manga, it's like, oh shit, that thing right there is real.
Is now a thing.
And now you have to animate it. And the first time you see it animated, it's like these two big crushing walls falling down. It's like, okay, I kind of get what's going on, but oh god, the dub is going to be very interesting for this scene.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Koichi in JoJo with Echo's his stance power, where it's kind of just like I sort of speak sound into physical existence.
Yeah.
Where because it's also like it seems like it somewhat takes on the traits of the onomatopoeia he's using. Because
exactly.
He uses like damp and whoosh. It's like it becomes wet and windy.
By the way,
he puts his intent into it, and so that it enacts how it's supposed to be implied. Like it is a bizarre and interesting power that I guess is only limited by his vocal cords.
Yeah. By the way, Grant, do you want to know how I know that you're a bigger JoJo fan than me?
I knew Koichi's name?
No, that you said echoes instead of reverb. My ass probably would have said reverb, mostly just because reverb is like a really cool, like if they couldn't use echoes, reverb is actually kind of badass. But yeah, I completely, I've watched
in my defense, me and Tyler talked about JoJo's like just the other night, so
gotcha.
Fresh in my mind.
Yeah. So yeah, Manga's ability, when I saw that when I was reading the manga, I was actually like really psyched because it's such cool looking and like creative ability. But yeah, I was like, oh man, what's the anime gonna do? What's the dub gonna do? Because even the translation of that part in the manga was already having a hard time.
The big thing I was thinking about was My Hero to 10, 11, 12-year-olds these days is what Dragon Ball Z was to us back then. So you're old, like if you're our age and you're still watching shonen anime, you've probably cracked a manga, so this joke like his gimmick makes a bit more sense to you. But if this is your entry level show, you're watching this with the same confusion I had when the first anime I ever watched was Tree of Might, and you have Goku fighting himself essentially.
It's a real confusing setup. I like that even like Sugar Guy and Tape Dude are like, what are they gonna do overseas with this move? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
That was a really, when I saw that joke in the manga, I fucking lost my shit. Because the fucking, like, I love that little fourth wall break there. Very good. Very good indeed.
But yeah. Oh god.
No, I was just gonna.
He's just probably not gonna move to America anytime soon with his puri.
Well,
he's just localized hero.
Yeah, you know what? It would be really funny when like he gets a contract in America, but he has to go by comic.
Localization hero, comic man.
All of his attacks go right to left. We don't understand.
and instead of the onomatopoeia for like Japanese, he has to go bam, pow, biff,
kabam. Anyone miss Kablam? I miss Kablam.
Kablam was amazing. One of the best Nickelodeon shows. But I feel like I may have misunderstood something with Mushroom Girl's power. Do the mushrooms like sap energy or do anything, or are they just there?
I think they just exist, and the reason that they were using them the way they were was to again, My Hero plays very well into strategy. It was to cover Invisible Girl, to make her visible, and also make sure she can't use her light refraction ability, and to make everything dark, and to kind of make the area a little bit hard to breathe in so they could separate everybody. So the power itself, while maybe not necessarily the best in a one-on-one situation until you get to the darker side of it.
Yeah. Obviously later she reveals an aspect of it that would be very good in just about any form of combat. But it was just very confusing to me where they're running in and mushrooms sprout up and they're all kind of like, stop what you're doing. Let's brush these mushrooms off. I'm like, you can keep moving. It might slow you down and get frustrating, but I feel like this is the part where you got to keep going, you guys.
Yeah. Eventually you get kind of like over encumbered with the fungus. You start looking like the clickers from The Last of Us, and you're just kind of like trapped down there. It's a cool ability. I like the way they used it strategically here to just fuck up the terrain and separate everybody. Again, the one thing that I really, really love about My Hero in this arc in particular, and just in general, is the way that they use the powers synergistically and tactically. Yeah. And they show that even if this power is like, okay, I can make mushrooms grow. Oh, what do I do with that? This is what you do with that. This is how you use that to
help stop a
better
stealth
society.
attack.
Yeah.
It's going to be... so I found one of my... talking about synergistic use of abilities... Momo is crazy.
Yes.
Momo came into this like, I'm going to pack all of these things inside of myself just to make sure that if, I guess, beforehand, she knew that there was a mushroom girl. She knew that darkness was going to be a problem. So she packs ethanol and night vision goggles. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the night vision goggles were something she already had. In fact, I think they actually showed that early on in another season that she had those.
Wasn't it something that I believe she had a line this episode where she said, sorry it took me so long. It takes me a while to make things that are more intricate. And so when she made that cannon, she packed all of those things into it, so
it was a layered creation.
The entire time she was running around, she was formulating this plan, and then she, saw it to fruition, is how I translated it in my head anyway. Yeah. I don't think she had those things pre-baked in her, so to speak. She was baking them as soon as she realized, okay, this is the relevance right now.
Well, I will say,
I think we've seen her make them before, though. I think is
but the fact that she made the night vision goggles to be specifically like they look like they go with Tokoyami's outfit, and this episode, this episode got me a legitimate laugh out of me, just because you had grimdark Tokoyami as soon as Aoyama gets stolen. Never stop twinkling!
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure that was mentioned because that got me too.
Yeah, I can't believe his name is actually Can't Stop Twinkling.
Hey, in the hero name episode, that's what he said, and he's sticking to his belly guns.
I wasn't implying that she had that already made in her. She has to make all the things she has, but she has to make them with materials that she has. And ethanol is one of those things where it's like, huh.
So you so you think she got turnt on that the day before, or maybe she was just using a lot of hand sani and it was just in her system.
She had some brilliant planning in this episode, but there was one part during her fight specifically with Kendo that I was kind of like, you could have done this to maybe make your life a little easier. Was when she had the shield things on. I get that manipulating things intricate, making them takes work, but at some point during those punches, I feel like you could have beveled that or made it spikes on it, so at least she would not want to be punching it so furiously.
She's too gentle.
Give yourself a breather.
She's too gentle, and that's kind of what led to the entire team's downfall, is the fact that none of them had that killer instinct in them to put the enemy down. If there's an enemy that proves a threat, the reason that Class A lost this one is because they took a series of half measures. They were very clever with how they were doing everything, but they didn't finish the job. And Tokoyami, realizing he probably would have died in this situation if you were up against somebody who was truly, truly malicious.
Yeah. Which, that is a harsh way to go about it, but it is also pretty true. It's weird, to think that they would encourage, you gotta knock out your teammates, or not your teammates, your fellow classmen.
You gotta take that with the grain of salt that Recovery Girl is on staff. Like, you have somebody that will just rejuvenate them. What's a concussion?
So
What's all of your bones exploding?
by the way,
Yeah.
I could have sworn that because some people are talking about this, I could have sworn that Momo has to have like interacted with a certain material to make it. Am I fucking wrong on that
I
one?
don't think so.
I don't know about interacting with it. It's that her, like, the lipids in her body have the ability to
Yeah, she uses
manipulate matter and produce said matter. I'm guessing there needs to be some sort of alchemical balance to that, but the
well,
show
she's got to
doesn't
eat a
really
lot.
explain it.
She's
Yeah.
basically got to eat a lot.
She needs a lot of calories.
Yeah. I could have just sworn that she actually had to interact with any of that material beforehand. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I could have sworn that was like the give there.
There've been like points in the show where they've shown her studying books with like mechanical things in it and stuff. So I'm guessing she just needs to have an insanely intricate idea of how
Yeah.
these things work. You know, further
Yeah.
showing that she's the smartest one in the class. Like,
I feel
far and
bad
away.
for Momo because I feel like she is frequently depicted as like you're kind of like the mental genius of this class, but almost every chance we give you to shine, you're going to lose. Like it's like she never really gets like a victory other than like, you know, like which in important moments like against real villains, but whenever it's like here's a school we're all going to be judging each other and looking at your performance specifically, it's
like-
always this, oh sorry Momo, close but not quite.
Like, she survives, and with that kind of Batman feeling, if you give her enough time to plan, like in the exam, the license exam, when they were up against the maid school, whatever the fuck their deal was.
Yeah.
She got enough time to produce a plan to save everybody and win. But she lacks the physical abilities herself to see a fight through to the end. She does not have the ability to win a one-on-one so far. I think we're eventually going to get some development on that from her where, yeah, that's her biggest weakness, is that she can plan all day long. She can be the brain behind the operation, but if the lines of defense fall before her, she's fucking screwed.
Yeah. Although she is also very good at making her own defense, which is to her credit.
Which she can defend, but she has no offense.
Fact is, she's actually like, in terms of my favorite characters in the series, she's actually really high up there because I've always kind of admired the fact that she's incredibly talented at a lot of the things that she does, but she's always very insecure about that. And it's nice to see her. Also, she's this rich kid, but she never thinks about it, but she also doesn't like judge anybody else about it, which is kind of nice. It's like, yeah, I'm rich, but like whatever, it's nothing. I like tea. it's
My house has wings.
yeah. Which I'm just glad that she's just a really fascinating character for me, and it was really interesting to see this hardcore rivalry develop very quickly, though honestly I understand why, between her and Kendo, who just comes out literally swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes in for the kill.
And it's cool to see that like Kendo is very good at planning and stuff. Like we don't go as deep into it, but there's flashbacks of her basically going like, here's what they're gonna do, so here's why we're gonna split them up, and here's how it's gonna work.
We're gonna need to separate them. We're gonna need to stop their ability to produce lights, so which means we need to get Aoyama out of there. We need to cover her with mushrooms. Like those are the key factors we need to get off the field. After that, once the dominoes start to fall and we outnumber them, we can win. And that's basically what happens. Like it is a last gasp, desperate measure. Like they have to go all out, literally filling Tokoyami's lungs with mushrooms, which,
yuck. Also, those things seem to grow more rapidly and like slightly less control with moisture. And guess what's really wet? Your insides.
Your lungs. And to that effect, Yaoyozoru did not think to provide gas masks, let alone how would you create one that would fit
for a beak?
Yeah, to fit a bird.
Give him like a space helmet, just a whole big dome.
Overload's plague doctor mask. Just
yeah.
Oh man, oh my god, I'm imagining Tokoyami in one of those masks, and he looks so badass in my head.
Overhaul.
Oh man,
overhaul.
I was gonna say, yeah, just give him Overhaul's old mask.
Oh my god, he just steals Overhaul's mask. I'm taking this. I don't give a fuck. I'm taking this.
I will give it a new symbol. I also liked how Kendo, kind of after the fight, definitely has like sort of a "don't worry, Momo" fans. Like she basically goes like, "But Momo planned so far ahead. I really don't feel like I even won this fight." It's kind of
I basically lost. I had to drag her all the way here. She
Yeah.
she tied herself to a cannon and then strapped herself to me.
Her plan worked. It just happened that you used the really fucked up forbidden technique, so we managed to get out of this.
Yeah. If she had backup, or if like Tokoyami had knocked you out first, we would have lost. So razor thin margin of victory, but Class B takes this one. This episode felt short to me,
Right?
Just because of how
It was
like
flashback
fast
heavy.
everything. Yeah.
Like I honestly, last week I mentioned I thought it was cool that Todoroki was like, "Oh, they're underestimating Momo," but then they like really went into depth with it. And I was like, I get that you kind of need to do that for people who can't binge it and stream it and like have it really kind of remembered. But it felt like this. We do not need to show this whole sequence of events. It felt like it was just a lot of padding for time.
I zoned out a lot this episode. Last episode had like a lot of cool stuff in it. This episode did have some fun stuff with it. Like I said, I like the tactics. I like the use of powers. I liked seeing manga translate to screen, even though, man, that's a weird thing to translate to screen.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot more of him going forward. You kind of played his joke.
Yeah.
So this episode felt a bit more middling to me than the last one.
Part of that had to do with the
because of
fact.
that.
Part of that fact was they, with the way that they're pacing things out, they're doing about 2 chapters an episode, and this episode actually, like, it still covered 2 chapters, but one of those chapters was a short chapter, and so they were
A lot of full page spreads.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think full page spreads still count as 2. It doesn't matter. It was like 10 or something pages. So as opposed to the usual like 14 to 16. So it's really tough when that happens. Because you've got to. There was one scene that I really liked in the manga that they kind of like messed with a bit. When she pulls out the cannon.
Mm-hmm.
That moment in the manga is way more fast-paced. She whips the cannon out, and then Kendo jumps out of the way because she's like, "Oh shit, it's pointing right at me!" And that's when Momo fires. In this episode, she whips it out, jumps away, and then she just stands there like, "Okay, is she gonna shoot me?"
And talks
Like a
about it. Says like,
dramatic.
"I know that this could probably hurt, so please just forgive me." Like threatening her, like, boom! Ah, I wasn't aiming at you or the wall at all.
Yeah, and that kind of
It was
how well that worked in the manga.
It was
format.
weirdly paced.
Yeah.
Also, like, not that any of this episode I thought looked bad at all, but I feel like the last few episodes have at least had a scene where, like, the animation, I was like, whoa, I'm going to remember how cool that looked. And this one didn't.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I looking at this episode, it didn't have a whole lot of room for any of that.
It didn't have a lot of action. This was all brain games and strategy and who played the 3D chess better.
Yeah. And it was still like well animated. It didn't look bad at any point, which that's nice. But yeah, it's a very limited episode. Apparently, so this is interesting. Horikoshi was going through some tough personal stuff at the time and moving studios. So that's why that chapter was so short. Fun fact for the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's actually interesting. It's always weird to see how the lives of manga creators, mangaka, how it affects their work. Because if you're an asshole, you get mad about it. But if you're a person who thinks logically and empathetically, you're like, oh shit, I hope he's okay. Too bad we got 10 pages this week, but I hope he's all right.
Yeah, when I learned kind of like the short turnaround manga artists and authors normally have to deal with as far as like getting their stuff published, especially like weekly and shonen, that shit catches up with you quick. So whenever people fall behind or fall ill, I can get how that'll be rough on the production cycle.
I too enjoy Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Eiichiro Oda, Mr. One Piece himself, takes frequent breaks, which makes a lot of sense because if you read one chapter of his manga, you kind of wonder how the man's doing it week to week. And it's also really, really bad for the anime studio because they're like, okay, we've already got one chapter an episode. You can't miss a week. And Oda's
Can't
like,
slow this down.
and Oda's like, sorry.
And they're already trapped at a pace where it's like, we can't just switch to a season formula now. It's too late.
It still blows my fucking mind that Black Clover wasn't seasonal. I swore we were finally past the week-to-week shit, and then Black Clover's like, nah.
I mean, Dragon Ball Super did it too. It was like...
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super doing it. So the reason Dragon Ball Super ended up doing it was that it had to take over for Toriko, which is like, okay, well, we might as well
gotta fill this slot.
Yeah, not a lot of people know this, but the reason that Kai ever happened, Boo Kai, was actually, it was made for like international release, not Japan, but then Toriko got canceled, and they're like, fuck, shit, okay. We're gonna take Kai.
What up, Boo?
Yeah, then we're just gonna cut down what we released internationally down to 52 episodes from 64, and then we're gonna put that on there, and then it did really well, and then they were like, oh man, we just need a new series. We already had the movies.
Keep doing Dragon Ball stuff. Go figure. People really like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, they realized that, man, people keep tuning into this shit, so I guess we'll make a show, and then they made a show.
Might as well make money with it.
Yep. But yeah, no, I am so glad. I am so fucking happy that we've got seasonal anime now, because it fixes two problems. The problem of the pacing and the problem of the schedule, because both those things can ruin an otherwise good story. I can't believe oh my god, we're gonna get Chainsaw Man by Mappa seasonal. Like, if you told me that we were gonna get a Chainsaw Man anime 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known what you were talking about because it wasn't out then. But if it had been, I would have been like, oh great, I wonder how that's gonna melt after the first 6 episodes.
If Jujutsu Kaisen had been just a weekly show, not seasonal, I can't imagine it would have been nearly as good as it is. But anyway, back to My Hero. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this episode. Like, the characters that were introduced were neat, but I
like Tokoyami's technique. I know we've seen it kind of in the movie, but it was kind of cool to see him introduced again. Like, especially him covering himself with the shadow to go super, yeah. Like, I loved Tokoyami's like super darkness. Like, when I stare into the abyss stares back with these night vision goggles.
I know that is, but Tokoyami's one of my favorite characters. I don't give a fuck.
No, he's great.
He's so edgy.
But also, yeah, the fact that one of his attacks is called Abyssal Black Body Sabbath is... I don't give a fuck that it's supposed to be over the top. I unironically love it. Unironically love it.
He's such a wonderful dorky bird. It's great. He embraces it.
I slightly misunderstood. Is Black Shadow? Is that the creepy black shadowy guy? But the
Vanta Black.
Yeah, Vanta Black. That's what it was. When he throws his cloak over him and catches him, is it just can he not decide when he goes into shadowy stuff? Was it did he scare him so he knew he'd be trying to escape and so he took that time? I was
a little confused by that too, and it kind of played into a question I had last week, which was, can he only move in a single shadow? Does the shadow have to be connected to things? And I think the way that he got captured there makes it seem like if he's if he sinks into a shadow and there's no shadow connecting it to anything else, he's just stuck.
Yeah.
So you got put in a bag.
It happens very quickly in the manga. He's trying to run away, and then the only way to go is the cape. So he just kind of absorbs into it, because when he starts his ability, he then slips into the shadow next to him. So when that was the only shadow there, he was basically captured.
I was a little sad that since this was the ending of the fight this episode, I was kind of hoping that we'd get a bit of an epilogue that was more than Deco being, wow, look how good they got even though they lost. I was hoping that we'd have that sort of breakdown of, this is what you did wrong, this is what you need to improve on. This I was hoping we'd get that from Aizawa, which I'm sure we will at the beginning of next episode, but I feel like they could have cut some of the flashback stuff and have that be there.
It was a pacing thing. 2 chapters per episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the manga, the anime ended where that chapter of the manga ended. In fact, the stuff with Deku was added to the anime.
Yeah.
I was happy that because I feel like every time Invisible Girl gets to do anything, it is immediately undercut with like, tee she's naked because she's invisible, and that never came up this episode. She vaguely mentions that you can see my silhouette. With the mushrooms,
oh no, you'll be able to see my silhouette.
Which I guess is kind of there, but I feel like that's more just like her being insecure and invisible all the time, always.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, honestly, like, it is still one of those abilities that every time I think about it, I'm like, God, I don't.
Kendo grabs her whole body with her hand. Kendo copped a feel, no doubt. But just seems like it's one of those one-trick pony bits where it's like, I'm glad we kind of didn't super dwell on it this time.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of a run-of-the-mill episode generally. I mean, again, I really like
middle of the road. There's gonna be a few of those this season, I'm sure.
I really
especially this arc.
It's a weird, like, feels less than the sum of its parts. Because if I tell you individual parts, I keep going, and that was really cool. But the whole episode together weirdly just sort of felt like a jumble.
Yeah.
I believe so. The next couple episodes, I decided that I was going to re-spoil myself and read back through the manga, and I think the next couple of episodes get pretty crazy. I'm really looking forward to it because one of the things that this particular arc does do incredibly well, in my opinion, is adequately communicate the growth of these characters. And you're going to see a lot of really interesting stuff moving forward. They started off with some of their characters who legit just needed some more time to shine in terms of their powers, but didn't have a lot of personal growth. But now we're about to see real meat, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, people who have been going out on their work studies and actually learning and comparing that to people who have just been studying. It'll be an interesting dynamic moving forward. That's kind of the one thing that's really guiding me through this piece, despite its narrative weight not being, pressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is definitely much more of a check-in with the classmates. Also, like, thinking about it, going in now knowing, like, the Tokoyami stuff with his new move, like, how much cooler that reveal might have been had I not seen the movie and known exactly what I was looking for. Like that, the whole like Black Sabbath move and stuff like that even would have been like such a like, whoa, he can do that too, like all that stuff.
It reminds me of some of the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games, or like back in the day when they would like show off cool new character powers before the anime had gotten to them in America, or even in general.
Oh yeah, no, the anime, like those games spoiled so much stuff from the manga specifically. I like the non-intimate hero games, like way back, the ones that were on the PS2 that those Ninja Storm games kind of basically, they had a lot of amazing cutscenes for those abilities, and some of those abilities had literally just been shown off in the manga like 3 months ago, and then other things were stuff that never could have happened. They broke some of the rules for those games.
Yeah, I remember Ultimate Ninja 3. It was the first time you got a chance to play as Anbu, Kakashi, and like they had a whole bunch of characters that some of them of which I thought were kind of what if characters, and some of them were just revealed in the manga, and I didn't read the fucking manga. So when they popped up later, I was like, oh, I know everything this guy can do already.
I know what his powers are.
Yeah.
Gekyo Ryu, oh lord, Naruto's been around long enough to have been on the PS2. Naruto started in 1999.
Yeah, it if they wanted to, it could have been on the N64.
It has been around for 2 decades.
It's been a while. He has a kid, man. He's a dad now.
Man, took him long enough. Fucking Goku had one by 1989. Come on.
Yeah, but Goku's also a lot older.
He existed before then.
Actually, I'm wondering, when did Naruto have Boruto?
That was
like age.
I mean, it was I remember the first time we saw the Boruto movie was like 2014, 2015 when I had just moved down here. So like we saw that in one of those indie theaters.
No, I'm wondering how old Naruto himself was when he had Boruto.
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like if we're only gauging it by time from show beginning to show like the next show. I don't know.
It's like 16 in Shippuden, right? Is that what
Yeah.
would you say? 16, 17, like throughout the course of that? I don't know if that series takes over the course of a year.
So he's probably in his like mid to young 20s.
Yeah, I would hazard 21 to 23.
It's always really funny to follow. It's really funny to follow shonen because it always, you get time skips, but it always encapsulates these great moments of growth. Like from, oh yeah, something that took this guy generations to get done. Yeah, but we can't age up the character that much, and we kind of have a story we got to focus on right now. Can we just kind of every time?
We just
Yeah.
got to compress it. And, this is cool, cool boy hop anime. We don't need you learning about romance and cute marriages. We're just going to skip that and tell you that they had a baby and all that stuff when you weren't looking.
Yep.
It's cool.
And meanwhile, Oda's like, romance? No, I don't know how to do that. Fuck that.
Gross. I'll just draw the crazy alien ladies.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Horikoshi. Oh man, Horikoshi. Again, it is so strange that they haven't finished their first fucking year. This is still their first fucking
Taking
year.
their time. Your freshman year of high school is full of events.
They show up with fucking winter clothes, and you're like, huh? It's winter now.
Yeah,
oh my god, it's winter
they're on
now.
they're on the verge of their second year.
Like I believe
Like that's it.
I believe it. Well, they started in spring, didn't they? Like it was spring, then throughout.
I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know how the Japanese school year works because I know that they are like an all-year school system. I don't know when they transition to the next class. I
Oh,
don't
did
know
they start
if it's,
their second year?
I don't. Well, I mean, spring is when the sports festival is. So
Huh.
they must have started school late winter, early spring.
Yeah. It's just it's pretty crazy.
Which
Also,
means, you know what, boys, we're coming up to the second sports festival. Woo! It's probably
Sports
never
Fest
going.
2.
It's probably never going to happen. There's going to be something that happens. I am certain.
It'll be a
because
filler
there's-
arc, like when Naruto had to do the Chunin exam again.
They're
Oh,
gonna get like a. They're gonna get like a hyper quick Harry Potter situation where it's like, okay, all of you, you're all deputized. Go help.
Dear God.
yeah. But yeah, it's yeah, I'm not too sure what to talk about now. I feel like we've gone over the episode. Now we're just talking about shonen in
Kinda have.
general.
It's-
So
it's-
maybe
it's-
we'll just
it's-
wrap
it's-
this son of a bitch
Yeah,
up.
it's at the end of the day, middling episode, but that's gonna happen. I mean, they can't all be bangers.
Yeah. I still
It has its good moments. It's above average. I'd give it a 6.
I still really like Kinoko's design. I genuinely have started to really like a lot of the designs of Class B in general, but honestly, Kinoko's is the standout for me. Just the fact that she so expertly incorporates everything about her into the mushroom aesthetic. That's really great.
Swedish X saying, this ain't Dragon Ball. We can't have multiple annual tournaments. Do you know how many tournaments we've already basically had just by any other name?
This is essentially a tournament. Well,
Yeah,
I
this-
guess not. They're not really eliminating
it's
one another.
yeah, but it's basically a game, like little
Yeah.
yeah. So in essence, it's kind of like a tournament.
Yeah, it's actually effectively yeah. This is actually a tournament arc when you think about it. It literally
Class A versus Class B, just in kind of a gauntlet match.
Yeah, it kind of checks off everything that anime uses well.
Tournament arcs for,
yeah.
yeah.
Which is actually pretty cool now that I think about it.
And then you had the exam tournament, which was dodgeball.
I sometimes, so there have been times in the past where I've been a little bit frustrated that this series doesn't spend a lot of time with the actual school stuff, because it's like My Hero Academia, but the most we ever actually get is fighting. I feel like 80% of the school stuff we see is just different kinds of fighting.
Yeah, but it's heavily implied that they go through a lot of lectures and a lot of regular school stuff. They talk about that all the time, but man, would that be kind of boring to deal with on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah,
they talk about taking regular written exams. They talk about hell, President Mike shows up for their English class. We just don't sit through the Persona side. It's like Persona. You get glimpses of the class, but then your day-to-day life is the real thing.
I really liked a fan art I saw, like as far as showing them not doing just action stuff, but it was, I want to say, a couple years ago, where it's just them kind of just being kids and doing kid stuff with their quirks. And just like I think it was someone just drew Deku frying an egg on Todoroki's arm, and everybody in the class freaking out because they think it's so cool.
No, leg, hot leg.
Or was it his
hot
leg?
leg.
Okay, yeah.
Leg so hot it fries an egg. Yeah, no, yeah,
but
I remember that.
I was just like, that's great. Like that is something I would like to see more of.
Let's be honest. Tell me one of the best episodes of the entire anime is not the one where we see their fucking rooms.
Yeah, no, the dorm episode is a real good, just like no action, but we're getting a good peep into everyone's psyche.
Yeah,
they do a very good job of giving the characters themselves time to shine outside of just being their quirk. But when it comes to, how they are learning, it makes sense that the stuff we focus on is their combat experience, because this in essence is a technical school. They're being taught how to be a hero. So you're going to need to learn these specific things. Although I do find it odd that we never see them going to class for... I guess they were trying to do a search and rescue drill at one point, and then villains all attacked at once. But we never got to see Class A learn how to actually deal with a natural disaster. So, like during the licensing exam, how a lot of the more experienced students were like, okay, we're going to set up a triage over here. We're going to set up this is our check-in station. You guys go out and search for that. And Class A is just like, oh, we should.
Is that how this works?
We should probably start doing stuff. Yeah, that's kind of the stuff that they've glossed over. It is a lot of, you guys are going to be fighting villains, so fight villains.
Yeah, right.
It's your lot in life. And for a lot of that class, yeah, it's probably going to be it. But hey, moving forward, we'll see what we got. I never watched the next time on My Hero. What team is up next?
It's Ida.
Next team is Todoroki, Ida, Tape Guy, and Sugar Guy, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that was the 4 of them. Which, after them, no spoilers, is one of my favorite matches in the entire thing, and you'll know why when it happens.
I mean, yeah, they kind of had to save Bakugo for later in the run, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, this episode, probably 6 out of 10. Not bad, not great, but way better to be binged.
Yes.
Sorry.
Would have fit in just fine in a marathon watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts? Let us
Tell
know. Tell us how you think.
And
Who's your favorite Class B rep?
Actually, yeah. Tell us in the comments who's your favorite Class B, and out of all those characters, because honestly, for me right now, it might be Vanta Black, just because I really like that ability and I like his interactions with Tokoyami. How about you?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Class B guys?
So far?
Yeah, so far. We haven't been able to see all of them yet, but who's your favorite so far?
I want to see more the ninja scale dude guy. I want to see him do more. I loved his design. I think his power is neat.
I really wanted to like Manga more than I did. He seems like a one-off gimmick character. I'm going to lean towards Kendo. I think she has the most potential out of anybody in that class so far. Her and 4 Tets.
Yeah, I can see that. Tets 4, Tets quad.
Yeah.
Tets.
Quad-tets.
I can't believe, Horikoshi literally sat down and was like, with these 4 different characters, I can make a character named Tets.
Yep.
That son of a bitch. But yeah, so tell us in the comments who your favorite Class B rep is, and thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back next Monday to talk about more My Hero. This week we're also looking at doing other streams. We have more Civ War coming up, right?
More Civ War coming up.
Yes.
We got some Stellaris tomorrow night, Quinn and Grant. And stay tuned for more.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everybody, take care, be well, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Later.